The Galactic Combat Academy had never seen anything quite like Lieutenant Maya Okonkwo. Not because she was human, though that certainly raised eyebrows across a dozen species, but because she had the audacity to qualify for the elite guard trials on her first attempt. Commander Thexlar, a towering Vraxian whose ancestors had conquered three-star systems before humanity had invented the wheel, watched her with unconcealed disdain. His kind stood 8 feet tall, their exoskeletons capable of deflecting plasma fire. They had trained warriors for 10,000 years. "The human thinks she belongs here," he announced to the assembled trainees, his mandibles clicking with amusement. "Let us see if her species' reputation is earned or exaggerated." The training hall fell silent. 50 of the galaxy's finest warriors, Krellian shock troops, Xanathi assassins, Mordaxian berserkers, turned to watch. Humanity had only joined the galactic community 8 years ago, yet their soldiers had already earned a troubling reputation. They didn't follow the established rules of engagement. They improvised. They survived things that should have killed them. Maya stood at attention, her dark hair pulled back in a tight braid, her expression neutral. She wore the standard academy training suit, which looked almost comically inadequate next to the armored hides and cybernetic enhancements of her fellow trainees. "Combat positions," Thexlar commanded. The drill was standard. Full contact sparring, no weapons, fight until submission or incapacitation. Maya had watched the previous matches. The Vraxian commander was technically skilled, but relied heavily on intimidation. He would grab opponents by whatever appendage was convenient: horns, tentacles, tails, and use their own body weight against them. They circled each other. Thexlar moved with the confidence of someone who had never lost a training bout. Maya moved like water. The commander struck first, a feint toward her midsection that transformed into a lightning-fast grab. His massive hand closed around Maya's braid and yanked backward with enough force to snap Xanathi's neck. Maya moved with him, not against him. Her body became a blur of motion. "You see human you are." The commander never finished his sentence. In the span between heartbeats, Maya had pivoted on her forward foot, dropped her weight, and used the momentum of his pull to drive her shoulder under his center of gravity. Her right hand found the neural cluster at the base of his exoskeletal plates, a vulnerability she'd studied for hours in the Academy's xenobiology database. Her left hand struck a precise sequence of pressure points along his thorax. Vraxian physiology was fascinating. Their spinal equivalent wasn't internal like a human's. It ran along the outside of their body, protected by overlapping plates that could separate during molting. Maya's strike pattern-triggered that separation reflex. With a sickening crack, the commander's spinal column separated from his carapace. Maya completed her rotation, still holding her braid in his now spasming hand, and the Vraxian collapsed forward. She hadn't actually removed his spine. That would have been lethal. But she dislocated it so completely that he'd need surgical reattachment and 3 weeks of regeneration therapy. The training hall erupted in chaos. Medical teams rushed forward. Officers shouted in a dozen languages. Maya stood perfectly still, her braid still clutched in the unconscious commander's hand, waiting for the formal judgment. The Academy's headmaster, a venerable Eldorian who had seen empires rise and fall, descended from the observation platform. Her ancient eyes studied the human with something approaching respect. "Explain your technique," she commanded. Maya's voice was steady, professional. Commander Thexlar violated protocol by targeting non-combat anatomy. Academy regulations permit escalated response to such violations. I responded proportionally to neutralize the threat while minimizing permanent damage. The headmaster's translator conveyed what might have been a laugh. "You studied Vraxian molting patterns." "Yes, ma'am. And their cultural taboos. Pulling hair is considered a grave insult on Earth, especially for women. In Commander Thexlar's culture, spinal separation is a juvenile punishment." I thought it fitting to respond to his disrespect with an equivalent from his own tradition.